Welcome to Health Coach for Women. Intentional living for more happiness and fulfillment in your everyday life with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. Join Marsha as she shares her own personal wellness journey, as well as stories from our guests that will enlighten and inspire you to move towards better health and happiness. Now, here's your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Health Coach for Women. Today I'd like to start out by reading you a little something that is a nice inspirational words of wisdom. This was given to myself along with some other students in nursing school by our teacher. And I'd like to share it with you guys. Your life is a sacred journey. It is about change, growth, discovery, movement, transformation, continuously expanding your vision of what is possible, stretching your soul, learning to see clearly and deeply, listening to your intuition, taking courageous challenges at every step along the way. You are on the path, exactly where you're meant to be right now. And from here, you can only go forward, shaping your life story into a magnificent tale of triumph, of healing, of courage, of beauty, of wisdom, power, of dignity, and love. This is by Carolyn Adams Miller. I don't know who she is. I've never heard of her, but this was so, I kept it. This was so helpful and inspiring, that when you are going through hard times, to stand firm, stand strong, and knowing that your struggle and your challenge is only temporary. And I know that right now people are having a hard time, during this difficult time with the pandemic and maybe being out of work and finances and homeschooling. I know that this is a difficult time. And I want to say that all we can do from here is to move forward in love and positivity and being optimistic about our future. And also standing up for what we believe and fighting for what is right and doing what is right. And so that is why I'm saying that change is the only constant. We're forever changing. We're forever growing and learning. And when you stop learning, you never stop learning. When you stop learning, that is when you cease to grow. That is when you stop evolving. So you want to always be on that path of learning, exploring, learning something new, continue. And learning is actually good for brain health. Okay, so you always want to be learning, whether it's reading a new book about something, learning something new, doing crossword puzzles. All of that is great for the brain. Even knitting, I believe even knitting is also good for the brain. But we want to make sure that we're doing things that's positive and non-destructive to our health, for our health. So when I say change is the only constant, don't be afraid of change. Embrace change. Don't be afraid of change. And it's how we learn. It's how we grow. Because if we continue doing the same thing over and over, especially for something that is not working, for something that is detrimental to our health and our overall well-being. Well, we definitely need to do something about that. So we can't be afraid to do something new, right? Growing and learning is part of your evolution, right? And into being this better you, this better version of yourself. And there's so much that we are continuing to learn every day, right? And even with this pandemic, we're learning more about ourselves each day, right? We're learning more about ourselves that we didn't even know about ourselves, right? Because we're faced with, some people, you're worrying about the future, instead of focusing on today, you're worrying about the future, which is quite natural and normal. If for those of you who are out of work, you're concerned about the future. You don't know how you're going to pay your bills or, how you're going to make ends meet. Yes, it's a tough time, right? It's a tough time. And I'm sure you could say, oh, well, it's easier said than done. I've been there, done that. So it's not an easy thing to be able to face with, but we have to stand strong and face it. And we can't be afraid to ask for what we want, right? So what is the saying? A closed mouth doesn't get fed. So we can't be afraid to ask for what we want. We can't be ashamed, and put our pride aside. Put the pride aside. And if you need help, reach out and ask for help, go to the food banks, the shelters, all the resources that's available. Now online, you can go online and you can even speak to someone online. You can even speak to someone through text messages, the crisis text line. So there's resources out there available to you. You just have to be able to, you just have to take the time to research it and look for what you want. But again, going back to change, we have to, even when change seems so, because we face a lot of resistance when we don't want to change, right? We're so stuck on what we don't want. So we don't want to embrace something that may be different and new. It's just like you work at a company and now there's new management with different rules and different ideas. And you're against it before you even hear what the new ideas and the new plans and a new vision for the company is all about, right? Because we're so stuck on the old way of things, right? And so the old way wasn't working. And so that's why you have maybe companies that take over other companies, or they acquire other companies, and because the old way wasn't working. So we have to look at every moment, right? Every situation that is not maybe so much of what we really want, but we have to find a way to turn that around and to bring it into something that we can make the adjustment and learn to adapt towards this new way. We may not agree with everything. If something is definitely not in line with your values and your morals and beliefs, and it's just something totally separate from out of what you are, who you are and what you represent, yes, then by all means, in that case, if it's not aligned with you and what you're doing and your purpose, then yeah, by all means. That's why some people, they may leave a company, right? They may leave a relationship. They leave that situation because it's not lined up in what you, on the trail, the path of where you're headed, right? So always, again, don't be afraid to be open, have an open mind. We can learn so much from one another if we were to only not have a tunnel vision and not have a closed mind, but to be more open, right? And embrace the change, embrace learning the different possibilities, right? For what we want and what we would like our lives to be. And so that is why change is the only constant. And anything you do, there are things that you need to ask yourself, right? Is this beneficial to me? Is it serving me? What does this change bring about for myself as well as my family or my community? Right? So that's how you can look at that to determine your answer. Right? So when you're faced with challenges, we have to be able to stand strong and whatever it is that you believe, in, that whatever your anchor is that keeps you strong and keeps you going, whether it's prayer, exercise, whatever it is that you're into and that you enjoy, stay anchored and connected to that. For me, it's always, my faith and believing and my positive attitude, right? Keeping that positive mindset, and when things become a challenge, it's not always easy, right? And so I can use myself as an example. It's like learning all the things with tech, with the computer, all these new different things. Maybe a software may have something different. Now they've changed it. Okay, perfect example, Facebook. They're always changing their algorithms. They're always running different types of, maybe somebody's Facebook page may look different from yours, because they're running all these different new software or things that they're always changing daily because they're testing different things for whatever reason, for their own business purposes, marketing, whatever it is that they're doing. But I use that as an example is that, when we see this change, I've done it myself. They say, do you want the classic version? They may ask the classic version or this new updated version. I admit I've gone back to the old version because that's what I'm used to. I am used to that way. Don't change that on me, right? So, and then I said, okay, you know what? Let me learn this new way. And now I see there's not that much of, slight variations here and there. But okay, it's manageable, and so we just have to learn to be able to adapt, to certain things that may be of a challenge for us, that may be difficult for us, that may be stunting our growth, right? To stopping us from reaching our true full potential. But it's being able to do that, again, with that positive mindset. And when you get frustrated, hey, take a moment, pause. Take a moment, take a break, stop what you're doing. If something becomes difficult and overwhelming, it's okay to take a break from it and then come back to it later on with a clearer head and a better mindset to say, okay, let me see if I can tackle this again. Let me try to go about it a different way. Let me see, let me go to Google and see how I can learn how to do this and see if they have YouTube videos that can help me with what I'm trying to do, right? And a lot of times you can find a YouTube video for just about anything that you're trying to do, from your car to skincare, everything, right? And health, you can find anything and everything on YouTube. So, we have to always be willing to continuously grow and learn. And I tell you, there again, I've said this before. There is so much that you could learn just from reading, picking up a book, right, and learning. And we know that sometimes the internet has a lot of things out there that are false. But there are things out there that are also true as well. But when you pick up a book, right? When you want to learn about something, and the people who write these books, they've done their research and they're telling you about the specific ways of ABC, has more credibility. Now, I'm not saying that, don't trust the internet at all, but what I'm saying that everything we see is not always what it appears to be, and everything is not always factual or what you read online. But the point here is know that your life is a journey. Your life is a journey, and your path may not be my path, and my path may not be your path. Everyone has their own path, and everyone has their own journey to self-discovery and evolving. And a part of that is that life will throw you a curveball. It's just a part of life, right? It's just a part of life, whether we experience a loss in our family, whatever it is, a loss in our job, income, whatever it is, people will experience something that will be challenging to deal with. And we may not want to face it, but it's only when we face our challenges that we're able to deal with them. We can't run away from the problem. We can't run away from the things that we don't want. We have to be able to face it head on, and it's through just being strong, being able to adapt to this new thing, right? And so another example, a perfect example is this, how about this whole wearing a mask, right? And so we have to, be out in public to protect ourselves from, getting sick, from catching this virus or whatever. And for those who are not wearing their mask in public, now you may be faced with fines, and now the city, the state, or whatever they want to implement this shutdown or curfew. It's happening all over. It's not just happening in the U.S. It's happening all over because, so many people are getting sick and dying that they felt the only way necessary is by implementing curfews, implementing martial law to get people to comply. Right? And so I know you've heard me say this before about when I walk in the park, I don't wear a mask and all of that stuff, and I didn't. And because I'm not coughing and I'm not sneezing, it's droplet precautions, right? So I have to be, myself or someone has to be eliminating some type of droplets in order for you to catch it, right? So, now what I've been doing, I've been wearing my mask only simply to, because it's also flu season, to protect myself from catching the flu, and, I don't want someone else to feel like, if we're in passing, to feel offended, by me not wearing my mask. And I actually haven't been to the park recently, last week. I think it's been maybe over a week or so. I've been kind of busy. But, and it's just, you see the change of happening. There's a lot going on right now. You see the change that is happening. But I don't want people to live in from a place of fear. Right? And so we do things to protect ourselves. We wash our hands daily. I mean, this is stuff that I've been doing all the time, right? We wash our hands. We're more aware of hand washing and doing what we need to do to protect ourselves, to keep ourselves healthy. We should be doing that all the time. And, but the change that's happening, the change that's coming now, with this second wave of the pandemic, we do need to keep ourselves safe. but also be aware of what is going on, be aware of what is happening. And again, don't rely on mainstream media. We have to be able to see beyond the illusion and to see what really is. And this is not to scare anyone. This is not to, I'm not a conspiracy theorist or whatever. I'm just doing things based on what I know. And if you read even your ancient texts, you see that it's in the book. It's already written. It's been prophesized already about what is happening. So I don't want you to lose sight of who you are and what you were meant to be. You are created, designed by God, right? And some of you may believe in God, or some of you may not. But for those who do, know that you have been divinely crafted, and you are meant to be you, to be abundant in this land, which includes your freedom, includes being able to express yourself freely, being free to be who you are. You were meant to just be abundant in all areas of your life, right? And so what if that was taken away from you? What if that could no longer be, right? Which we're seeing that happening right now with curfews around the world and government shutdown and, all of this stuff that's happening right now. But we have to learn how to adapt. We have to learn, to be able to say, okay, this is what this is right now. This is what the world is right now. But how will I allow it to impact my life? Will I allow this change to negatively impact my life, or will I allow it to positively impact my life? And that is why you have your voice. From my two previous episodes, I talked about using your voice for change. So, if you voted and you elected these people to be in office, we have to be able to use that voice to demand change, to demand certain things that we want done, right? And there's a hidden agenda that's going on. There's a hidden agenda. And those of you who are awakened and knows exactly what I'm talking about and understand where I'm coming from, we are here to be a part of helping others in a way that's to be able to bring them back from a dark place of whether it's dealing with mental health issues, substance abuse, anxiety, fear, depression, any of those things that doesn't serve you, right? So anything that comes in a way where it's keeping you in a dark place, keeping you in a place of fear, keeping you in this place of limitation and thinking that nothing is possible, right? But know that everything is possible. Know that everything is possible, and know that change is a part of that process. Change is a part of that process of growing and learning and evolving, right? And so with life, it'll throw us a few curveballs, right? We're going to get hit with a few curveballs here and there. It's a part of life, but it's being able to adapt and maneuver and be able to deal with that is going to help us see us through. And like I said, you have your anchor, whatever it is for you. You have your anchor, your faith, whatever it is that you believe that you believe in, you have to use that now during this time more than ever to stay anchored, stay connected, all right? Stay connected into keeping your mental health in a good place, keeping your mindset, because the mental health, the mind and the body works together. It's not separate. And so we need to be able to operate from a good place, right? And keeping our vibrations, our energy high, and keeping it, keeping us in a place of feeling happy. No, every day we're not going to feel happy, but just that's where this attitude of gratitude comes in, and just being grateful for the things you already have right now in this present moment. You wake up this morning, you're able to breathe. You're able to breathe. Do you know how much of a gift that is right now to be able to breathe? And you don't rely on oxygen, an oxygen mask, a nasal cannula to receive your oxygen to breathe. You don't have to take certain medicine or whatever, or pills to help you get through the day, to help you with things. Now, I'm not against, I wouldn't say I'm totally against medication, right? I'm not. For some things, medication is necessary. You have people who suffer from asthma, and they need their asthma to keep them going. What I'm saying is, we definitely need to get back. We definitely need to get back to learning the old way of things, learning the old way of how they did. There was no pharmaceuticals back then, There was no pharmaceuticals back then when people got sick. They went back to the plants, right? To the plants, the herbs, the medicine for healing. So we need to get back to that place. But I digress for a moment because I just felt I needed to say that. But we definitely need to look at change as a way of growing, a way of evolving, in a way that is going to impact the lives of others in a positive way, because it's us together, working together to save the planet, to be able to express love, right? And operate from this place of love and not fear. And despite what they're showing on the news, right? We know that there are people who are, during this time, who are not experiencing some of the things that other people may be experiencing. It's just not what they're going through right now. But we collectively together need to work together to build each other up, to strengthen each one another, and unite and use our voice for change, right? And be able to adapt to change. Not in a way that, maybe not in a way that with some things that we're going to accept everything that is happening right now, but to use our voice in a way that we can create change and to be able to embrace and learn new things in order for us to become what we need to become, in order for us to do the things that we need to do in order to make life better for ourselves, our family, and our communities. We have to be willing to change. And so I probably could go on and on about it, but it's so much that needs to be said. There's so much that's happening right now. And for me, I just see it where people are really starting to wake up. They're really starting to wake up and know that there's time, there's work for us to do. There's a mission, there's work for us to do where we have to make an impact and defeat the enemy. So I will close out on that, my friends, and that is all I have for you on this episode of Health Coach for Women. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for the next episode. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for listening to Health Coach for Women with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate that effort. Until next time.